Hello and welcome back. So this video is going to be my colorful eyeshadow collection. I wanted to do an updated eyeshadow collection and I didn't want to do them all in one video because I have 40 something palettes and I saw Amy Loves Makeup split hers up into high-end and drugstore. Mine didn't quite work out like that, so I decided I'm going to do a colorful eyeshadow collection and then neutrals. Some of these palettes I do have individual reviews on, and honestly I wanted to review a lot of these because quite a few are newer, but I just haven't had time, so I am giving mini reviews in this video, so let's get into it. I'm splitting these up by brand and I'm starting with Violet Voss, although this is the only Violet Voss palette I have. This is the Fruit Sorbet palette, and I do have a full review on this one. This is $18, and as you can see, it's quite colorful. However, this is probably one of the few that I have that I don't think I would recommend. The mattes are really pretty, but the shimmers are very chunky and not very good. However, I keep it because I do like the mattes, and I think that this orange and the pink are really nice. So the mattes are great, but I think for $18, some of these other palettes would be much higher quality. Next, I'm going into NYX, and I only have one from NYX as well. This is the Ultimate Brights palette. This one is $18, and this also is quite colorful. The thing with this palette is some of these may look like they have shimmer, but they all pretty much perform as mattes. This one, these are not as pigmented as some of my other eyeshadows. However, I do still really like it because it is good for colorful shadows because you don't want to use too much, and they do blend out very easily and you can build them up. So actually I do really like that. You get some really good pinks, blues, greens, and yellows. So actually I do think this is worth $18 and I'm glad that I have it. Next up, I do have two palettes from e.l.f. And e.l.f. has really improved their eyeshadow formula. Several years ago, I had some palettes from them and they were not pigmented. They were no good, but these are great. The first one is the 18 Hit Wonders, and this is great. This palette is $14. So I'd much rather pay $14 for this than $18 for that Violet Voss palette because this is way better. The mattes are really good. You get a wide variety there. And the shimmers, some of them are really intense and metallic. These are really intense and metallic. However, a few of them, like these here, take some building, but I don't mind. You can get it to be quite opaque. So I think the mattes are great, a bit powdery, but yeah, this one is really good. This does have some neutrals, so if you don't want a full-on rainbow palette, then this one would be good and it's a good deal. Next, I have the e.l.f. Mad for Matte, the Jewel Pop version. And this is all mattes, obviously, and jewel tones. So the name says it all. This palette is only $10 and I think it is well worth $10. These blend so easily. So if you want some matte colorful shades that are not neon and bright, these are the colors for you. I think this palette is fantastic. Let's get into some Juvia's Place. I love Juvia's Place. I'm starting with the Masquerade Mini, although I think the quality on this one is not as good as their newer palettes. I've had it for about 2 years. I don't think the quality has deteriorated because it's the same as when I got it, but I keep it because I love the colors. This palette for $25 is a good starting out colorful eyeshadow palette because you get some purple, some blue, and then half of it is neutrals, but these are not neutrals for the faint of heart. These are very intense and bold. As you can see, I hit pan there. These are very pigmented. My issue is that the shimmers are a bit chunky and the mattes can be a bit choppy, harder to blend, but totally doable, so I do like this. Most of the colorful shades though are shimmers, so it depends what you're looking for. If you want a palette with more mattes or more shimmers, you know, this one, the colorful shadows are mostly shimmers. There's really only 2 mattes. This pink looks like it has shimmer in it, but it works as a matte. So only 2 matte colorful shades in this palette, but I do really like it and the colors are good and vibrant. It just takes a bit more work. Next up, the Deuce palette. This one is $20 and this is much higher quality, I think. They've really improved their formula. The shimmers are much smoother. The mattes blend very easily. So this is a color story that I really like with the pink and the teal. So if these are the kind of colors you're looking for, it's a bit more pastel. I mean, this is pretty neutral actually to me, other than like these two. But I do think it's a pretty color story if you are looking for these type of colors, and the quality on this palette is fantastic. I think the Zulu palette is my favorite of the Juvia's Place. It's just, the colors are just amazing. I love it. I mean, this green, this blue, this teal matte is amazing. This peachy color is more neutral. You have a pink matte, a matte purple. It's so good. If you want a much more colorful palette, you want good quality, 20 bucks. This is an amazing palette. This may be one of my favorite in my entire colorful collection. Let's talk about some indie brands. First, Menagerie Cosmetics Feral palette. I have a full review. I will link it down below. This palette is fantastic. This one is a bit more expensive though. It's $39. However, the quality is great, and it is made in Washington, where the company is. These are amazing. These pinks, fantastic. The greens, amazing. This matte formula is so pigmented but smooth and blendable, and these shimmers are intensely metallic. There's a bit of shimmers in there, so it does work much better with a glitter glue or a wet brush. But yeah, I absolutely love this palette. The shimmers are so good. I kind of wish they had thrown in a few more shimmers, but it's amazing. The colors are absolutely gorgeous. So yeah, this one is more expensive. And also these pans are magnetic, so you can remove it, rearrange it, put it in a Z palette. Yeah, I think this one is really, really good quality. It is more expensive, but I think it's worth the price tag. Next up, the Exotic Peacock by Pinky Rose Cosmetics. This is an indie brand. This palette is made in China. It is $25, but the quality is really, really good. And I love the color story of the purples and greens. I don't have a ton of this in my collection. The mattes are super blendable and smooth. The shimmers are more shimmers. They're not metallic. That's the only thing I could say potentially negatively. I like a bit more metallic look, but with a setting spray, they look amazing. So this is a really nice color story. You don't see a lot of this out there. So if you are looking for these type of colors, I think this is worth it. This palette has a lot of buzz on the internet lately, and a lot of people have done amazing looks with them. It is a really good palette, and I think $25 is a really good price. So this is well worth it. Then I have the Ace Beauté Slice of Paradise, and this is also an indie brand. This one I think is made in China as well. This one is $35, so it's a bit more expensive than the Pinky Rose. The color story though is very different. This is much brighter. I wouldn't call it neon, but these colors are pretty bright. The formula is similar, I think, to the Pinky Rose. The mattes may just blend a bit more better, and the shimmers are a bit more intense, but the shimmers also do require a setting spray. Otherwise, I got a lot of fallout, so I don't mind that. But pinks and greens I think are my favorite colors. These are gorgeous. The blues are great. The yellows are great. Purple. You get a lot in this palette, and I do think it's worth the $35. The quality is very, very good. And pinks and greens are definitely my favorite. So this corner is amazing. The next palette I have talked about a lot on my channel, and that is the BH Cosmetics Weekend Festival palette. I've done a Get Ready With Me. I have a full review of this one as well. And this palette is $18, and this is amazing. I mean, $18 for that Violet Voss palette. I know I keep talking about it because it was so disappointing, but this, wow, it's amazing. This one does have some neutrals in it, but these shimmers are so smooth, so metallic. The mattes are so pigmented, very easy to blend. This really impresses me. If you want some bold colors mixed in with some not so bold colors and good quality, good price, you really cannot go wrong with this palette if these are the type of colors you're looking for. If you are looking for an all matte colorful eyeshadow palette, then I think this is the one to get. I absolutely love this. This is the Carity 21 matte palette. These are the mattes I'm wearing in my crease today. This palette is $29, so it's a bit more expensive than some of the palettes I'm talking about, but I've noticed actually most of my colorful palettes are much more on the affordable side, so that is nice. I think these mattes are so smooth and easy to blend. Some of them do take some building, like these greens take a few layers to build up, but again, I prefer that with colorful eyeshadows because I'm just honestly not that talented at makeup, so a really, really bold color, if you put too much on, it's going to be harder to blend. Other side note I have noticed about colorful eyeshadows is they actually look better less blended than a neutral. Neutral eyeshadows, you can really blend a lot, but if you're doing that with a colorful eyeshadow, I've noticed that personally it gets muddy. So these don't take a lot of swipes. Sometimes it takes a bit more building depending how bold you want to go. This look today, I just mixed these two oranges and really easy to blend. I love it. The pinks are amazing. I really like this. You pretty much have all of the matte eyeshadows that you would need because they have some browns and a black too. So if you want an all matte palette that will give you pretty much every color you want, and for this many colors, it's not a very large packaging either, which I like. So this is very high quality and I think it is well worth it. Alrighty, only 3 palettes next. Next I want to talk about ColourPop. This is the only ColourPop palette I have that I would say is truly colorful, although they have come out with that pink palette now, the Just My Luck palette, which I did do a dupes video on, and the purple It's My Pleasure. So I'm really happy they're expanding their colorful range. This is the Chasing Rainbows palette and this one is $20. I really, really enjoy this palette. If you like pink eyeshadows, these are amazing. That yellow shimmer is very good. Teals. So yeah, this doesn't have any greens, but if you are looking for more pink and blue type colors, I think the quality on this is amazing. I mean, it's the usual ColourPop formula, which I personally think is one of the best pressed eyeshadow formulas. So yeah, this palette is quite fantastic. I really enjoy it. It's not super bold and neon. I mean, there are a few neutrals in here, but you get some really nice shades and it's quite good. Next, I have this palette from Bad Habit, which I don't think I would buy more from them, but I do have this and it is very good. This is a dupe for a Huda palette. This is the Aftershock and it's $10. And I gotta say, the quality on this is shockingly good. These mattes are quite pigmented and very easy to blend. The shimmers are very metallic, although you get a lot of fallout if you don't use a setting spray, which I've noticed that about a lot of colorful shimmers, not just this palette, that they tend to do much better with a setting spray. So yeah, this yellow is amazing. The pinks are amazing. You know, if these are the type of colors you want and you only want to spend 10 bucks, the quality on this is shockingly good. So I do like this palette. Last up is another palette that is only $10. And this palette has really blown me away. This is the Profusion Wanderlust. I bought this at Target, but you can buy this online as well. So this color story is very purple, blue, and green, and some neutrals down here too. I really like this palette. The only negative I have to say is that these shimmers are, again, they're more shimmers. They're not true metallics. They do better with a setting spray. I feel like I've been saying that a lot in this video, but I feel like that's true. It's just a lot of colorful shimmers. Not all, of course, but they are really good. The mattes blend very easily, so there's no concern there. If you don't mind building up the shimmers a bit, you get a lot of colors here for $10. If you're looking for that purple green vibe, this is definitely it. The only complaint I would have about this palette is I wish that there was a matte green also. They should have just taken out, honestly, one of the browns and made it a matte green, and I think that would have completed the palette better, just because they have matte blue, matte purple, and this matte pink magenta color. So that's the only thing that I think could have made this color story better. However, I still really like it, and I have plenty of matte greens in my other palettes. This brand has really impressed me. I've only seen it in the last about 6 months at Target, but it is very good, and $10 for this is really kind of crazy. The packaging is a little bit cheap though, I mean, plastic. Oh, and it actually did come with a brush. I have that over there in my brushes. The brush is really good. Usually I don't even use brushes that come with palettes, but this is a really good crease brush and I use it all the time. So getting a high quality brush and a really good palette for $10 is pretty surprising, but I do really like it. Alrighty, that was my colorful eyeshadow palette collection. That was 15 palettes. And I have 43 palettes total, so I want to divide the rest of them into half as well so that I can make this 3 videos, but I'm not sure how I'm going to split them up yet. But yeah, these are my colorful palettes, and really I think all of these are amazing, other than I would say the Violet Voss one is definitely one to skip, but the rest I think are high quality. So I think if you want to expand your colorful eyeshadows, it just depends what color range you are looking for, whether you want more pinks or blues, or if you want a full rainbow palette with everything. Most of these are a really good price tag, which is nice. None of these are super high end or anything. The most expensive one was $40, which is not that bad. So yeah, I love my colorful eyeshadow palettes. I don't need more. I keep trying to tell myself that. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. And if you want to see my eyeshadow palette collection from about 5 months ago, I'll leave that in the description box, and thanks for watching.